to that conversation, so contextualize. The government had touted, which I referenced to one of the gains that you talked about, FX reserve going up to more than $40 billion. You talked about NEL fund on the other hand. You talked about FAC allocation increasing to record high of 1.7. But that is at the bigger or macroeconomic level. But the reality is the fact that the day-to-day living of people has not improved. That is the truth. So when you begin to use words like agenda setting, not speaking to fact, look, Mr. Bwala, the truth is that this is Channels TV. We speak to fact. As a person, part of my academic background is economics, so I understand numbers beyond the surface. So put the numbers out.
Okay, so let me respond to that. I have never mentioned any media outlet. It is not in my character to do that. But if the shoe wears, I mean, if the shoe fits, wear it. But what I'm trying to say, when you talked about, you agree with the macroeconomic, progress that we've made, but that it is not reflective in the day-to-day life of the Nigerian people. Now, I'm very happy you also talked about your knowledge and experience in economics. So since you have the depth of knowledge in economics, I believe you must agree with me that before you can see effective change in the day-to-day living of individuals, you have to put in place the fundamentals of economy, the indices that steer or stimulate that growth. And you must agree with me also as an expert in the economics that there is no economic theory that can promise you magic or overnight wonders, except if you think there is any theory that you have come across that can make somebody have overnight wonders.
The issue here is the fact that nobody is quarreling with. Everybody seems to have agreed that there are certain policies that should have come through, but how those policies are managed. So the approach looks like knee-jerk in some instances look tokenistic. That is the challenge. So that is why perhaps, despite some of the efforts we've seen releases of funds, but it's not moving the needle as it should move. So Nigerians are constantly complaining. And whatever model of economics you use, whatever you put out, there's something called being witnesses of personal experience, and that is the reality of Nigerians. So whatever gain you put out, Nigerians don't see it if they don't see it in when they step out of their houses to buy food, travel by road, or some of this basic at the end of the day. You get my point, right?
I get it, but I disagree in part. Let me tell you why I say I disagree. When you use the generic term Nigerians, the assumption is that there is an assessment in which the majority of Nigerians have said that. Now, I know you don't have a data. You have not polled any statistical data to arrive at that. So your own is assumption, but the assumption can be a reality given that we have a large population of Nigerians. What I will say, rather, is that the economic model, however fantastic and wonderful it is, it will also take into cognizance population. So, for example, if the population of Nigeria is small, there will be these visible signs that you're talking about within 18 months. Whatever investment you put, if the population is large, you know that the growth will have to be slow. As an economic expert, I'm sure you must have come across this analysis that was given, that for Nigeria to match what is expected infrastructure-wise, there must be on a yearly basis an investment of $10 billion on infrastructure alone. This is economic analysis arrived at by experts in the field of economics in Nigeria. Now, that $10 billion, my brother, if you convert it into Naira, you will see that you're already challenging the entire budget of all the areas that we're talking about in Nigeria. So and that's the very basic of economy, when you have limited resources and then you have things to do, you have to begin to look at which one we can touch now, which one we can talk later, and even those ones that we're doing now, whether it has touched a lot of people. For example, you cannot deny the fact that in December, there was a policy directed by the president that those who were traveling for festive season should access transportation fare for half the price of the value. But because the population is small as compared to the population of Nigeria, you would say that it has not impacted on generality of the people. You can also look at it from example in the area of agriculture. There have been improvement, whether you go to the northeast, northwest, south, or everywhere. But because we have a large population, the impact is not seen in the way you're saying. So I expect contextual intervention from you to say that to either agree or disagree, that population-wise will mean that the growth cannot be very visible at the moment. But we have testimonies, and we have testimonials of people who are impacted by that, and they are ordinary Nigerians.
Okay.
One way to know an incompetent leadership is when they give too many excuses rather than doing the right thing. An incompetent leader will blame everybody except himself. Nigerians were not used to blame game, but ever since APC took over power in 2015, they resorted to blame game. For 8 good years, President Muhammadu Buhari blamed Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and PDP for his inability to perform and deliver good dividends of democracy to Nigerians. When Bwala Tinubu took over, he said he inherited a battered economy. The so-called battered economy he inherited was inherited for President Muhammadu Buhari, his party man, someone he single-handedly, according to him, made the president. Now they've shifted from blaming past leadership to blaming the population of Nigeria as to the reason why Nigeria's economy has plummeted, as to the reason why there is widespread hunger, hardship and poverty ever since Bwala Tinubu took over office as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2023. I know they are empty, I know they have nothing to offer, but blaming the population of Nigeria is out of bound, and we are going to disapprove them that the large population of Nigeria is one major reason why Nigeria should not be experiencing poverty. It's one major reason why the economy of Nigeria should have never plummeted. Tinubu on several fronts has admitted that there is widespread hunger, poverty and hardship ever since he took over office. In a media chat in December, he said he has a friend that has 6 Rolls Royce, but because of his bad economic policies, it has affected his friend, and his friend has sold off his 6 Rolls Royce and is now driving a Honda Accord. The statement from Bwala Tinubu means that his bad government policies affected both the poor and the rich. It affected the generality of the Nigerian population. It affected the larger percentage of the Nigerian population. If Bwala Tinubu bad government can affect everyone in this country, how come his good policies, his good government that him and his handlers want us to believe he has initiated so far is yet to affect the larger percentage of Nigerians? It has not even affected 10% of Nigerians. Anytime the president and his handlers say something like the economy is rebounding, that the president policies are beginning to yield positive results, it's just their words against that of the Nigerian people, because the stark reality on ground, just like the anchor said, is that there is still widespread hunger, poverty and hardship in Nigeria. Daniel Bwala using Nigeria's large population as a reason why the effects of Bwala Tinubu good policies are yet to be felt in the life of average Nigerians fundamentally misrepresent the dynamics of population size and its rational shift to economic growth. A large population is far from being hindrance to economic growth. A large population, when well managed, is a significant asset for economic development, as it has been evidenced by global examples such as China, India, the United States, Indonesia, and even Russia. A large population is not inherently a liability. Rather, it is an indicator of economic potential. Economics often emphasize the concept of a demographic dividend, where a young, growing population drives productivity and innovation. Countries with large populations benefit from a growing and larger population. A large economy and growing population provides a vast workforce to that country. A larger population provides a substantial labor force to drive economic activities, from agriculture and manufacturing to technology and production services. Another aspect where a larger population is advantageous is in the consumer market. A large population translates to a significant domestic market for goods and services. It attracts both local and foreign investment. Look around you. Nigeria is a big market. Nigeria market is dominated by foreign products with little or no local products. Another advantage of a large population is innovation and creativity. A diverse and sizable population fosters creativity and innovation. It is essential for technological advancement and entrepreneurship. Nigeria is the only country with a large population, the most populous black nation on earth, the biggest population in Africa that is yet to utilize her population. All over the world, the biggest economy is proportional to a larger population. For instance, China is regarded as the manufacturing powerhouse. China has a population of over 1.4 billion people. China transformed its large population into a competitive advantage by becoming the world's manufacturing hub. The government invested in education, infrastructure, and industrial policies. It created jobs and attracted foreign direct investment. Special economic zones were established to incentivize businesses with tax breaks and reduce regulatory burdens. By mobilizing its population for industrial and export-oriented growth, China lifted over 800 million people out of poverty within 3 decades and became the world's second largest economy. Another country is India. India is regarded as a knowledge economy. India has a population of over 1.4 billion people. India focused on education, particularly in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. They use the STEM method. This helped in producing skilled workforce that fuels its IT and service sector. The government policies encourage entrepreneurship, while economic liberalization in the 1990s opened the doors to global markets. India is now the world's 5th largest economy, with a booming tech industry, a growing middle class, and a vibrant startup ecosystem. You need to understand that in the 1980s, Nigeria was ahead of India and China in the economic world pecking order. Why these two great nations leverage on their large population to become a big economy, Nigeria disregarded her population. Surprising among that list is Indonesia. Indonesia is regarded as a regional economic leader. Indonesia has a population of over 280 million persons. Indonesia capitalized on its population by focusing on domestic production, trade partnership, and small and medium-sized enterprise. Investment in education and rural development help integrate more of the population into the economy. Indonesia is the largest economy in Southeast Asia, with a growing middle class and increasing global influence. I didn't include US and Russia because these two countries were ahead of Nigeria in the economic pecking order. I used the countries that Nigeria was ahead of in the economic pecking order when Nigeria gained her independence. And I showed you how these countries were able to utilize their large population. Key factors were responsible to help these countries to actualize their goals. Among these key factors are education and leadership. This is what is missing in Nigeria today. Nigeria has a weak government. Our government is characterized by corruption, inefficiency, and lack of accountability. This has undermined economic policies and eroded public trust. The leadership we've had over the years, they failed to invest in infrastructure. We have poor roads, we have unreliable electricity, and there's inadequate public transportation. All these have hindered economic activities and they have discouraged investment in Nigeria. Our leaders are not concerned about the unemployment rate in this country or taking people out of poverty. Millions of Nigerians, particularly youth, are unemployed or underemployed, leaving the country's vast human capital untapped. Our educational system and healthcare is underfunded. If you check, the countries that have attained economic stability invested more in education. Education is the hallmark of any developed economy, but Nigerian leaders have neglected education. They are not funding our education at all. We have 20 million out-of-school children in Nigeria. No nation, no country can grow, can become economic viable with this level of out-of-school children. So to put it to Daniel Bwala, Nigeria's large population is not the reason why Nigerians are not feeling the good economic, according to them, of Bwala Ahmed Tinubu. The truth is, Bwala Ahmed Tinubu is not investing in the right sector. Bwala Ahmed Tinubu is not doing the right thing. How much has been budgeted so far in education? How much has been budgeted so far in infrastructure? How much has Bwala Ahmed Tinubu invested in small medium enterprise and entrepreneurial skills? How much have been invested so far in our health sector? Bwala Ahmed Tinubu keeps traveling abroad for just medical checkup. When P2B was campaigning, he talked about the untapped vast land in the north, how he's going to turn the north into an agrarian economy. What has Bwala Ahmed Tinubu done so far to utilize the vast land in the north? It is not about our large population. It is about the government poor policies. These policies are not targeting the right area of development and infrastructure. When the government starts doing the right thing, every Nigerians will feel the impact of the right thing the government is doing, the same way every Nigerians are feeling the impact of the wrong things the government is doing. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.